a psychologist. And most people, when they hear about psychologists, they think we study people with behavioral problems. I was in Malawi, and I came back about 2 hours ago. And I was talking to a young man in the plane. When I told him I'm a psychologist, he said, "What were you doing in Malawi?" I said I was practicing psychology in Malawi. His next question was, "So are you studying me as we are in this plane?" I said, "I'll only do that if you go to extremes." So as an occupational psychologist, we study people who are normal. But when they go to extremes, we also take note. So I said to him, if you go to the extremes, I'll take note, whether positive or negative. But our job is to really study people and understand why some people do better than others. Okay. The key question that was being asked is, what's next? Because I was in Malawi, all the changes that took place, I was actually away. So I was trying to get more information via WhatsApp. Sometimes I get wrong information, sometimes I get good information. But I think the core of what we are facing goes back to the people that we have. So what am I talking about? Economic development is a result of the people that we have. Every job will be done if you put the right people in the right job. That's the biggest challenge facing Africa especially. So when you look at people's capacity, what is more important, if you look there, you will notice that the key issue is what is called cognitive power. And cognitive power is the capacity to think and find solutions to problems. That's what we need. That's the backbone. That's the foundation. When you don't have that foundation, you can try whatever you want. The results will be evident, as I will show you. So that cognitive power is what is crucial for anyone in any role. But that's not enough. You would need the knowledge. That's why you go to university. That's why you go to a polytech. That's why you go to school, in order to gain knowledge as an accountant, as a librarian. Over and above that, you need the skill. And the skill comes through practice. You want to come and work and practice. More importantly is the motivation. You can have the skill, you can have the cognitive ability, you can have the knowledge. If you are not motivated, nothing will happen. You need to love what you do. That's what is crucial. You will also notice that all those things are very crucial in any particular role. But what is also more important is the wisdom and the temperament, the absence of behavioral problems. In psychology, so you can have everything that you need in terms of makeup, in terms of cognitive ability, but as long as you don't have the right temperament, nothing will happen. In psychology, other psychologists, what they've called this a situation where you've got very intelligent people who do stupid things, what they call intelligent fools. Okay? These are people who are very clever. Even if you go into your own families, you will notice that there are people who are very clever. They've done everything in school, but they've not achieved anything after that. Okay? These are what we call intelligent fools, and there are plenty of them in this country. Once you have those things that I have talked about, you need to understand that every role in an organization, in a family, in any setup, every job that you see, there is a level of complexity in that role. And those are the levels of complexity that you find in all jobs that you can think of. Stage 1 up to 8. When you get to 8, this is where we talk about Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, and others. At the bottom, you don't necessarily need to think. If I say dig this hole, you dig. Okay? So the complexity increases as you go up. The challenge that we find in most organizations is that there are people who are in roles that are beyond their own complexity. Okay? There are people in roles that are beyond their capacity. So let's take, for example, someone is in a role that is level 4, which is your really general manager type of role. And their level of capacity is level 2. They bring that role down to level 2. So that's why you find a general manager, which is an assigned role, the person is thinking like a clerk, the person is thinking like an administrator. So they come back, they ask you about bond paper, they ask you about tea, they ask you about all small things. Because their thinking capacity is at that level. So you'll find that roughly about 80% of the people are in roles that are beyond their capacity. It's because of the way we put people in roles. We take colleagues, we take relatives, we take people that we have worked with before, without considering the level of complexity of the role. And as a result of that, organizations fail. As a result of that, we've got educated people who fail. That's the challenge that we are facing. The key thing is, what's next? And how do we address that? So when you look at it, that's the pyramid that you need to have. If you are going to employ anyone, if you are going to run a business, you must look at that and say, what do I want? The foundation is there. Okay? I want to take you through this. It's very important for you and for your kids. When you look at the foundation, personality is generally how you behave and your attitude. The bad news is largely hereditary. Okay? 85% of your personality is largely hereditary. And the balance is childhood experience below the age of 10. After that, you are done. Okay? A lot of people say they argue, but they argue from a point of ignorance. In the sense that they say, I know this person has changed their personality, this person has done this. Personality does not change. It matures as you grow. If you are cruel, you become more cruel. If you are a nice person, you become more nicer. So you mature into your personality. I have had people ask me questions and say, look, we have taken this person to church. They are very aggressive, but they're now going to church. They are okay. Nothing has changed. What is happening is they're just moderating themselves. Okay, so in church, like as we are sitting here, there are people who are very aggressive, but they're not behaving aggressively. Because it's the environment. But put them in a normal environment outside, they start showing. Even as soon after church, you find the same person, but they're saying, we are coming out of church, what are you doing? Okay, they are just, because people find it very difficult to behave outside their personality. Okay, you become very uncomfortable. That's where that temperament issue comes from. Okay? With the wrong temperament, I'm sure you can look around, not necessarily in this particular room, but look at home, at work. There are people who are very brilliant, but who got the wrong temperament. For the role, I always talk to people in Zimbabwe, for example. They say people in Zimbabwe are very nice. But how many of us get good customer service wherever you go? Very bad. In some roles, especially those that are in customer service, you need people who have got a natural inclination to serve others. That comes naturally. But you take someone who must be a security guard, who must be in the armed services, and put them as a front office person. Their makeup will focus on aggression. And these are the people who are looking after your clients. And you're not going to win. You find why clients are leaving. That's the challenge. But the question is, what's next? You look at ability, what we call general mental ability, which is your capacity to think. That capacity to think, unfortunately, again, it's all largely hereditary. Okay? About 80% is largely hereditary. The balance is childhood experience. Childhood experience that we are talking about is, are you having the right nutrition? Okay? Nutrition is so crucial. The right emotional environment that feeds into your personality. Okay. That's why you'll find most people or most parents don't pay attention to their upbringing of their children, especially below the age of 10. If you're a parent, go and invest now when your kids are below the age of 10. Once they're above that, it's almost a done deal. Okay. Then you look at all the other things, your attitude, skills, and competencies, they come from the foundation. If the foundation is weak, nothing will come out of that. Okay? So, what is crucial? Where are we as a country? I'm sure you can see. As a country, in all the rankings, 165, 116 out of 157, World Bank Human Capital Index 2018. Global Talent Competitiveness Index 115 out of 119. Intelligence Capital Measures, Professor Chan 119 out of 128. Why are we there? Most people, you'll find that we've been fighting and saying, look, let's focus on FDI. FDI contributes very little to economic development. What contributes to economic development is the quality of human capital that we have. And it's not only the quality of human capital that you have, it's the quality of human capital that we have that has been put in the right roles. Because of unemployment, lack of opportunities, most of us are hanging in roles that we have no capacity for. And in roles where we are actually underemployed. As a result, we don't give our all in those roles. That's why Zimbabwe is where it is today. So what do you need to do as you leave this room? You need to go home and start looking at how you can develop the people that are around you. And how do you do that? We need to deal with the childhood experience. Okay. If you look at UNICEF, they were indicating that I think roughly about 1 million kids are out of primary school. And these are people who are below the age of 10. Poor nutrition, poor emotional environment, out of school. You're basically creating a criminal from day one. Okay. And you then find out later on, 10 years later, for the young ones, 20 years later, you find you've got so many criminals around. They were manufactured during your early years. And that's what we want to fight. So the key issue is, I want you to think about this and say, how can we develop human capacity in people? You need to make sure that you do with nutrition. High quality, free lunch at school. There are so many people in the rural areas who are struggling to feed themselves. And these are people below the age of 10. And as they are growing, you're already damaging their mental ability. You're already damaging their personality. Health, smoking, alcohol, all these things, good nutrition and water are crucial for development of general mental ability and personality. And we need to work on that. Family education. Instead of focusing and taking your children to other places that do not stimulate them, you need to make sure that you read books to them. Okay? You give them tasks that are stimulating. That's where you need to go. Preschool. We put our investment in education in pre-5-year education. When the human brain, 80% of the human brain develops before the age of 5. But they start running around when you're in university. It's already a done deal. So what do you need to do? We need to make sure that we invest in preschool education. That's my call to you. To make sure Zimbabwe, 5-10 years from now, we need to invest in preschool education. I thank you.